Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? I may or may not have added an intro to this video. If I did, it's an edit that my buddy CJ made. I hope you liked it. If I didn't, well, you'll see it eventually.
I had strings, but now I'm free. There are no strings on me.
Alright, so today kind of want to talk a little bit about, why I chose this bike as my first bike. It's a 2024 Ninja 650 ABS. Yeah, I mean, I before I bought this, I had been looking for probably a good year on and off, debating on whether or not to buy one, and doing a lot of research. So I had done a lot of research already before I bought this, and I kind of just found that this was the only bike on the market that was newer, reliable, had good aftermarket support, that wasn't too crazy powerful, but also not something that I'd grow out of within like 3 months in terms of fun factor. And I think that this bike kind of checks all those boxes. It's got a lot of low end torque, it's fun. So yeah, adding on to that, this bike, it's gonna let you, not only you, but me, learn the fundamentals of good riding habits and such while having, something that's fun and torquey. I mean, this thing will do 0 to 60, with the right rider on it. I think 3.6 or 3.5 maybe is the fastest that I've seen anyone do it. So, I mean, that's not slow by any means at all. My car will barely do that. I mean, it's a manual, so I mean, it'd probably do 3.8. But yeah, it's something that you can build your fundamentals on without wanting to go trade it in a few months of having it, like I've heard a lot of people with Ninja 400s and Ninja 500s want to do. Next reason is it has a very upright position, despite looking like a sport bike. But I'm sitting basically back straight right now as if I was at a piano, so it's very, very comfortable. I mean, I can full tuck if I want to, but I've even seen that on video, and that isn't even like a full tuck on a sports bike, like a true sport bike, like a maybe 1,000, an R1 or something like that, a CBR1K. So it's very comfortable. You're not going to hurt your wrists. It might take some getting used to if you don't have a lot of hand dexterity, I will say. I've heard of people complaining about inner hand, kind of like your palm, I guess that's what it's called. I should have probably just said that to start with. Getting tired on your throttle hand if you're not used to using your hands regularly. But that's just something you'll get used to eventually. Yeah, the upright position is very comfortable, so that definitely helps. Slow down a little bit and back it off to 4th, and I'm doing 45. So I'm right in the power band at about 5,000 RPMs. And it got to almost 75 like it was nothing. So that's what I mean when I say, it's got ample power for a beginner. Most people, if you're not used to speed, maybe you should go for something like a Ninja 500 or Ninja 400 first. But if you have the respect for something that's quick, and the control of your own impulses for something that's quick, then maybe look at a Ninja 650 instead of a Ninja 500 or 400 for the reasons previously stated. I grew up around fast cars. My dad was a mechanic, had his own shop, so I was constantly around souped up old Chevelles, Monte Carlos, things like that. That was kind of his specialty. So he taught me, to respect the power of these cars pretty early on. And now fast forward to, now I have a 2014 Mustang GT, and I've done a lot to it. It's a manual, it's 6-speed, and I've done a lot of work to it, and it is quick. So all those lessons that my dad taught me, I applied to how I operate that car and how I go about using it in a safe but quick manner. I have, you know, a lot of track time in my car too, so I respect the speed, and I understand the implications of, you know, driving quickly, and the implications of, you know, putting yourself at risk as well as others. I know what those implications are because I've seen it on the track and off the track. So it just gave me a better and deeper understanding of, you know, what's at play here. So again, long story short, if you have that kind of control, then this bike, you know, will be great for you. Absolutely fantastic. But, you know, if you know you're that kind of person, this is where you got to be honest with yourself. You know, if you're the type to, you know, take super unnecessary risks when you don't have the skill set yet, then I'd probably go with something a little smaller, just to avoid, you know, getting yourself in situations that you don't quite belong in yet. Not to say you won't ever get there, but again, it's all about building your skills. And circling back to another reason was, you know, this bike is great to build your fundamentals on. Looks like a sport bike, it has some sport bike attributes, but it is not a true sport bike. You get, you know, upright seating position, and it's a lot more comfortable. Oh, a big one was the fact that there's a lot of aftermarket support for these bikes. Even though this is a 2024, there's not a crap ton yet, but I checked previous years and there's a lot of aftermarket support for the Ninja 650, you know, mods, stuff like that, exhausts, clutch and brake levers, rear sets, stuff like that, which is great. You know, if I decide to keep this bike instead of, you know, selling it to buy my next bike, then maybe I'll make this my first track bike, even though it's technically a sport touring. But I wouldn't mind starting on something like this before I moved up to something like a ZX6R. I'd be completely comfortable with that, especially because this thing has the low end torque, so it's pretty quick, you know, 0 to 60, as I said earlier. And when you're on a track, it's very rare. I mean, I guess it depends on the track you are at, but it's very rare that you'll be doing more than $130 on a track. You know, you really don't need a crap ton of high-end power unless you are at a point where, you know, you can comfortably ride a 636 or, you know, an R6 or something like that on a track and, you know, have competitive lap times. So aftermarket support's great. The only thing that kind of sucks with these bikes is you can't, as of right now, you can't get a slip-on for 2024 and newer. You have to get a full system, which is going to circle me to one of my other points, which is that I picked this specific bike because it already had a lot of the mods that I wanted to do done to it. Mirrors, tail tidy, exhausts were the big ones. This one has a rear seat delete, which I don't care about because I'm not taking anyone on the bike. I think I said that in a previous video. You know, I'm not nearly skilled enough yet to have someone on, especially someone that I love dearly. So, you know, I'll take my time with that. But yeah, that's kind of why I went with this one. It was also pretty low miles, 2,800, which for 2024 private sale without dealer fees, I mean, that was a good deal. I did obviously, you know, I had to drive pretty far to get it, but that was okay. I took it, you know, as a chance to spend some time with my big brother, who I don't get to see very often, so, or I don't get to hang out with him very often due to our work schedules. So that was great. It was very nice to take that trip. Oh, a big one. Because this thing looks good and because it sounds good for a parallel twin, it just makes me excited to ride it. Like, I love riding this thing. It is so fun, and the color on this one's so baller. I get compliments on it. You know, anytime I meet up with people, I always get compliments on it. It's just great. You know, this color is amazing. So anyways, the overarching point of me being excited to ride it is that I do ride it regularly. You know, I take time to ride it, and that means I'm practicing my skills. You know, I'm practicing my lane positioning, I'm practicing looking over my shoulders, being aware of what I'm doing at all times, being aware of what other drivers near me are doing. And lock the steering. Alright, I'm grabbing some food, so I'll pick this up when I'm done grabbing food. Alright, welcome back. Just got some good old barbecue. That was pretty good. Ate so much so my stomach feels like it's gonna explode. So I don't exactly remember where I left off or which point I was talking about, but I'll jump right back into another one of the main reasons, which is the cost of ownership. I am young, which means insurance costs are extremely high. Still got a couple of years before they reset, and they readjust my insurance costs. So, you know, if you're under 25, especially in the great state of Florida, I can't speak for other states, but it is very, very expensive to insure any vehicle as a guy. Even this not being a sport bike and being a sport touring, you know, I have nothing on my record. No tickets, no accidents, no points on my license, and my insurance is still a couple $100 a month on this. Mostly because it's not bundled with anything else. So like I have my car insurance through a different provider, because my car insurance provider quoted me so much for this bike that it would not have been worth it at all. Anyways, yeah, the cost of insurance, cost of maintenance, and the overall cost of the bike. You know, if you buy one of these, again, I got mine off of Marketplace, had to drive a while, but you get yours off of Marketplace as long as you know what you're looking for, you know, in terms of mechanical issues to look out for and such. Again, that goes back to doing your research. You know, you find one that you like, you can find them, you know, somewhere between $6,500 and $7,500 with mods, low miles, 24 or 2024 with ABS, which is a good price for a, you know, a bike, man. That's not super cheap, but it's not $10,000 to $12,000 like you'd pay for a dirty six or something of that sort, of true super sport. See, she gets up and goes. That's what I mean. Man, I hope you guys can hear those little backfires. Probably not, because I got my helmet, my visor up, or visor down, excuse me. But yeah, anyways, cost of entry, or barrier to entry in terms of cost, very low in terms of, or in comparison to some like 636 or an R6 or some of that sort. So it was a big one for me. You know, I didn't want to spend too much on something that I may not like, may not want to stick with. So yeah, I think that'll probably be, you know, all I can think of right now in regard to, you know, why I chose a 650 over a 636 or an R6 or something like that. So if you found any of this helpful, maybe help me out, like or comment, subscribe if you want. If you didn't like the video, dislike the video, do something, help me reach my goal of becoming a subpar content creator. Thank you very, very much for watching. I appreciate your time as always, and I will see you next time. See ya!